From the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, the 21st Annual Great Debate. Tonight's topic, food is better than sex. Starring for the affirmative team, Paul McDermott, Fiona O'Loughlin and Arch Barker. For the negative, Cal Wilson, Russell Kane and Greg Barrett. Now, let's find out if food is better than sex. Here's your host, Corinne Grant.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, butchers, bakers and orgasm fakers, welcome to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival's 21st Great Debate! Tonight, 6 of the world's finest mouths will argue the contention that food is better than sex. We'll discover if a juicy leg of lamb is better than a juicy leg of Sam or Pam. Depending on your taste. Is a hot dinner better than a hot date? If you're at an Indian restaurant, you can have both. Is it really better to stuff your face than other parts of your body? Would you rather sizzle in the kitchen or the bedroom? Would you rather go the grope or the pan-fried groper? Would you rather have the meat and 2 veg or the meat and 2 veg? Either way, yum! Followed by a burning sensation that can't always be cured by my lanta. When a date goes sour, at least you can say you got a good meal out of it. But when the food's bad, you can't console yourself by having sex with the chef. Unless you made it yourself. And when did you last find yourself screaming at the top of your lungs, "Yes! Yes! Oh, God! Yes! Oh, I'm completely full!" There's an ancient Chinese proverb which says, sweet, sour, bitter, pungent, all must be tasted. And tonight, we have the lot in one tiny little bite-sized package. The captain of the affirmative, Paul McDermott.
Yeah! Oh, hello, Melbourne. Thank you so much. I must confess I am a little bit confused. Is this even a debate? Where's the worm, ladies and gentlemen? Where is the fucking worm for this one? Food is better than sex. Yes. Heaps of things are better than sex. Football is better than sex. Having your team win the premiership, that's better than sex. Television is better than sex. A good book is better than sex. Mario Kart is better than sex. Thinking about sex is often better than the act itself, is better than sex itself. I suppose if we're couching it in food terms, then go on the old self-serve. For the fellas, that would be taking Captain Picard to Warp 5. And for the ladies, pushing the envelope or slapping some sense into Susan Boyle. You always hear that, don't you? Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much for that. You always hear that, don't you? You always hear people say, "Oh, mate, it was better than sex." Why do they say that? Because it was better than sex. You never hear anyone say, and I swear to God this is true, you will never hear anyone say, "Oh, mate, it was better than food." It just doesn't happen. If you love food, there's a word for you. It's a word full of comfort and warmth. It's a contemporary word. It's used a lot at the moment. Foodie. It's lovely, isn't it? It's warm and cuddly. If you love sex, there's a word for you. Do you know what it is? You're a slut. Not you personally, I don't know, maybe a good many years ago, I think. an old person, ladies and gentlemen. Probably couldn't hear a word I was saying. Where was I? There's a word for you. Slut. And why? Because every society has problems with sex. Christian, Islamic, Buddhist, it doesn't matter what society you're in, sex fucks you up. Sex can leave you feeling degraded, psychologically damaged, and emotionally destroyed. And that's when it's good. The Sex Act is a biological imperative. Every animal, insect, fish, bird that flies has a need to reproduce, to bring forth offspring. And why? So their offspring can taste how bloody good food is. Here you go, little sparrow. Get that into you. It's a worm. And thus the golden circle of life continues. No species of creature has ever valued sex over food. If they did, they're extinct. You go into a room where food is cooking and the smell, the aromas are intoxicating. You go into a room where people have just had sex and... Quite frankly, it's not the same, is it? It's like someone just swabbed the deck of a deep-sea trawler with Handy Andy. It's a combination of fish oil and White King. Bringing back some memories, is it, darling? The human tongue has over 8,000 individual taste buds that can detect the 5 known elements of taste perception. How complex is that? A tongue has the ability to detect the subtlest of flavours. If you taste salmon, you can detect from just eating the salmon what ocean it came from. Oh, that's Atlantic salmon. The male penis can't taste anything. I don't know why I said male penis, because clearly there's no female penis. If there was, it'd say, "Feed me, feed me." Food. Food is rich and wonderful. Sex, on the other hand, well, on either hand, can be quite nice. But it doesn't compare to trying to swallow 8 ounces of prime beef crammed between 2 creamy white flour-dusted buns. Women, I've been told, enjoy sex. I've never seen it myself. I do look for signs of enjoyment, but it's hard sometimes when they're trying to finish off the Sudoku and they have their back to you. A male orgasm, on the other hand, is pretty simple. It's a momentary cacophony of wonder. Then bang, you're asleep. Phonetically, a male orgasm would sound like this. Dum da. And it doesn't matter if you're having sex with Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, and Explorer Sock, or rubbing up against a stringy bark tree. It's always dum da dum. Because for a male, it's all in the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Food is better than sex when you're in prison. Food is better than sex when you go to Catholic school. Food is better than sex when you're in a coma. Nothing more awkward than coming out of a coma for 2 years and finding you're 6 months pregnant. That's awkward. Food is better than sex if you're in the royal family. In Australia, we love our cooking shows. You can turn on any channel night or day, and someone's going to be frying up something. Master Chef, ladies and gentlemen, was the most brilliant of all the cooking shows. It showed us Matt Preston, and Matt Preston made me see food again with fresh eyes. I would love it if we could deal with sex in the same way we do with food. Thank you, darling. I'm just going to let you simmer for a while in your own juices. Here's one I prepared earlier. I'm just going to rub some salt into that. Nice and crisp. Food is better than sex. If you come home after having a big meal in the middle of the day, the meal you've got at home isn't going to smell the other meal on you and threaten to throw itself in the bin. Food doesn't care if you're a clumsy eater. An apple doesn't look at you with those guilty eyes and say, eat me more like a peach. At the end of a meal, you don't have to say, wow, that was the best meal I ever had. Food never asks you to compare it to other meals. Food doesn't make you sleep in the wet patch. Food doesn't see other food behind your back. After a meal, you know you'll be having another meal fairly shortly. With food, if it's something new you haven't had before, it's, you got to suck it and see. With sex, that's dangerous. A meal never asks you while you're quietly digesting, what are you thinking? You can always send a meal back or push it to one side. Have you ever tried that with sex? A meal never fucks your best friend to get back at you. I don't have to shave my feet before a meal. Food doesn't mind if you put a paper bag over its head. Do that. Oh, issues. For the footy players out there, it doesn't matter if you accidentally glass your meal. And a meal doesn't care if you share it with 10 of your mates. Food never tricks you into sex in a back alley. Slut. Best of all, you can't knock up a plate of chips. So you can choose to not have sex and become what they call celibate, or you can choose not to eat and become what they call dead. That's me, I'm done, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. First speaker for the affirmative. Thank you very much. Let's go to the worm. Oh, they loved it. They loved it. Look at the worm. They loved it. Oh, does it get any better?
Paul McDermott!
Up next, classy Kiwi Cal Wilson sticks up for sex. Plus Fiona O'Loughlin, Russell Kane and Arj Barker here on The Great Debate.
Just so you know, we are all meant to be debating for 6 to 7 minutes tonight. Paul just did 17. It's the longest 6 minutes of my life, and I doubt that I'm the first person who said that to you. Our next speaker recently had her first child, so she's full of nostalgia for any sort of contact that doesn't involve bibs and baby chunks. The captain of the negative, Carl Wilson!
Good evening. Now, I'd just like to take issue with a couple of things that you said, Paul, in your startlingly short speech. You said that many things were better than sex, but you actually left out two vital words. What you should have said was that football, Mario Kart and food are better than sex, with Paul.
It's true.
Take issue with the fact you called an older woman in the audience a slut. That's no way to speak to your mum. Now, I was going to start by defining what food is.
Oh no.
What was that, little man? It says, fuck oof cow. I don't know who oof is, but I'm open to suggestion. Now, for the purposes of this debate, I'm taking sex to encompass sexual desire, the object of that desire, and sex's somewhat more prudish cousin, love. Now, my dynamic colleagues over here will sway you with their incredibly well thought out arguments, their amazing insight, and their adorable selection of accents. Russell Kane, smart, smart, cute, unfeasibly energetic, like a purple hummingbird in skinny jeans. He will make the point that sex is better, although food can enhance sex, and I for one agree with that. Who doesn't love the phrase, dip me in honey and throw me to the lesbians? Or its variation, dip me in hummus and throw me to the Lebanese. Greg Behrendt is not only a fantastic stand-up, he's a relationship expert. He's the author of the self-help dating guide, He's Just Not That Into You. Now, I haven't actually read the book because I've been hanging around waiting for a phone call from this guy, but here's a couple of readers' reviews on Amazon.com. Think about is food. Here are the reviews on Amazon.com. If you haven't read this book, you should, even if you don't want to. And one which was posted in Danish, which I got Babelfish to translate as, "This is Boken. All single ladies, preferably several times. Incredibly, that ladies can be arrival by the alone. Or to the others, but never again." Who can argue with that logic? Rivals on the affirmative team will attempt to convince you that food is better than sex, when their very existence shows that that's a lie. Paul McDermott, looking at his slightly unnerving, sexy best this evening. Now, when he got dressed tonight, did he stand in front of the mirror and hope that he appeared attractive, or did he go, "Ooh, I hope this says soup"? And then there's Fiona O'Loughlin. As a mother of 5, possibly 8, some say 12, rumour has it 19 children. You can't tell me that this woman has ever picked food over sex. Fiona O'Loughlin, voracious, pocket-sized sexual lady monster. Pity her poor husband, the father of her 32 known children. A once proud, handsome man, now a hunched, withered husk, debilitated by the unrelenting carnal demands of that little comedy sex minx. You're telling me that Fiona prefers food to sex? The only reason there's food in her house is to keep her husband's strength up. And then there's Arj Barker, the pretty one. Does he genuinely believe that food is better than sex? Let me just say this. No man ever got into comedy because they wanted to meet more macaroni cheese. Are we to believe that Arj, pretty, dear, simple, pretty Arj, dreams that instead of being harassed by pert, nubile young comedy fans at the stage door, that one night, just one night, he'll be mobbed by lasagna? Now let me give you a visual to illustrate my point that sex is better than food. Look at my feet. Look at my shoes. Now all you gentlemen and some of you ladies in the audience, if you went on a blind date and she turned up wearing these, at least a part of you would be going, this is going to get interesting. I'm hoping that's oof. Now, what happens when you add food? Russell, may I have my hat, please? Thank you, Russell. Suddenly not so good, is it? From the knee down, wahey, from the neck up, restraining order. I mean, you can go right back to the Bible. Look at Adam and Eve. Adam fucked it up with the food. He could have spent eternity in a garden. Think about frisky al fresco happy times in a garden with a hot naked chick. He was the only guy in the world. He didn't have to try to get into her pants. She had no pants. Eve offered it to him, but she was just being a good hostess. Sex is better than food. It's more memorable. Even bad sex is more memorable than good food. I mean, who can remember the first meal that they ate? Who can remember that? But who would forget losing their virginity? I remember my first time. The tentative tenderness, the blossoming realisation of enjoyment. The 17-year-old bogan called Wayne. A man of such compact features and such powerful nostrils that when he breathed in sharply, he could block his own nose with his upper lip. After our first brief fumbling encounter, he murmured, "Remember, it's not fucking, it's making love." And when I shyly responded, "I know," he said, "Shit, I said that out loud." But even more touching was his second utterance moments later as we lay in the dark, me in his arms, listening to the gentle whoop of him inhaling his own lip. He said, and this I'm afraid is true, "You're good enough to be a prostitute." How does one respond to such a haiku? I didn't know what to say, so I charged him $50 and stole his mobile. Now finally, the only way I can think to encapsulate the argument that food is not as good as sex, that sex is better, is to actually give you the decision. Would you rather watch food or would you rather watch something sexy? Well, let's find out. Please welcome to the stage, steak, taco, and carrot. Okay, boys, get rid of the food. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunkmania Australia!
Best night of my life!
All I can say is chicks before chips, dudes before foods, dates before plates.
Coming up next, Fiona O'Loughlin strikes back. Plus, Russell Kane, Arj Barker and Greg Barrett debating the topic, food is better than sex.
According to the French gastronomist Brillat Savarin, the discovery of a new dish does more for human happiness than the discovery of a star. Happily, our next speaker is both a star and a dish. Australia's very own Nigella Lawson, Fiona O'Loughlin.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Cal Wilson. How very, very dare you. I've been accused of this. I've got 5 children, right? So people think I'm some kind of sex maniac, right? 5 children in 25 years. I've actually only ever had sex 6 times, right? 5 times to get the kids and once because we needed to get the bathroom retiled. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Cal, and thank you, Greg, and thank you, what is your name? We could have had some fun once. It would have been quick.
Oh, God.
No, seriously.
It's Russell,
Russell, yeah. And Greg, where you've written the book, He's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah.
Where were you at my year 10 social, Greg?
I was 10.
It still counts for our team if you laugh, even if they say something funny. Right? We still get points. Ladies and gentlemen, food is better than sex. I'm a female, so I represent half of the population, and half of us are moving onwards, and we're done. Seriously, we are done. I think, well, I'm very lazy, so I think too much. But I just wonder what went on in Creation Week. You imagine God, Creation Week, he's got a week to get it all together. Seriously, it was a big week. And he made some mistakes. He seriously made some mistakes. He should have done some more work on his holes, I think, God. And I believe when it came to sex and women and men, he stuffed up a bit because it was unfair. The women had to then gestate the baby, carry it for 9 months, hemorrhoids. I think maybe there was an angel or something that might have said, tried to fair it up, even it up at the very last minute, and God's gone, oh shit, yeah, you're right. All right. Yep, we'll put the testicles on the outside. You know, in case they play sport or something and there's just a bit of pain there for them. No, I'm not sure. I just wonder very much, you know, what went on. Was God in Creation Week overwrought? Was he understaffed, maybe? You know, maybe was he just, I don't know, just far too much on his plate?
Understaffed, exactly, Fiona O'Loughlin. Finally, someone's called it. My name's the Angel Brenton. I was PA to God during Creation Week. There were actually 2 of us. We worked for 6 days on a contract, 6 days, and then 200,000 years taking phone call complaints. It was all going well. Everything went a bit pear-shaped on the Friday, although, of course, we didn't know that. We didn't create pears until the Friday evening. But things were going a little bit pear-shaped, and God decided, because he'd had a bit of a bender on the Thursday, he invented alcohol, went out, it was Angel's payday. He's decided that he likes tequila, doesn't he? And he's had an absolute bender. It's turned up very precious the next morning, very fragile, vomited all over Geelong. We haven't cleaned that up yet, sorry. Got very hard from that was the day, of course, everything started to go wrong. He forgot to give all the vowels to New Zealand. What a duffer. Ran out of irony before he got to the USA. And then, of course, he's put all the dangerous animals in Australia, which is great for the UK comedians, because what else would they talk about? Of course, that was also the day that God got the measurements wrong for the dinosaurs. It was supposed to be in millimetres. They would have been so cute. Heaven. But, of course, then he came down to my office and he showed me the prototype of Adam and Eve, and he'd forgotten to put holes in them, hadn't he? No holes. So I said, I'll put a mouth on the girls and you put ears on the man. That was never going to work. So he fixed upstairs, I fixed downstairs, and well, he fixed downstairs, and I had a look at his work, and for goodness sake, he's put the 2 holes too close together, hasn't he? I said, look, building regulations stipulate that you have to have a room, at least one of them, between the kitchen and the toilet. I said, can we at least put a door on the thing? And he said, no. And you've got no idea how I tried to get arse lids.
So in closing, I am in a state of perimenopause. I am basically at the beginning of a very long, slow, dry rot to my death. My shop is shutting down for business. I will not be having a closing down sale. That would be revolting. Everything must go, right? But I'm not going to stop eating, but I am going to stop, if I can, encouraging my husband. Because here's the thing, and I was going to finish. I should finish now, but yes. You know what? Men, we hate your sex face. It's supposed to be, you think it's the toppest thing in the world, and we have to look at it because you're usually on top of us, right? And it's pathetic. What are you, 12? Like, this is the man's sex face. Like, I've only ever seen it. I've never done it, but I'm gonna give it a go. It's like it's pathetic. You look like a 12-year-old boy that's just had his BMX bike stolen. We hate your sex face.
Coming up, hyperactive Pom Russell Kane, plus Arj Barker and Greg Barrent, here on The Great Debate.
Our next guest loves like he cooks. Chaotic, noisy, and when he's done, the walls are covered in strange lumps. The second speaker for the negative, Russell Kane! Yeah!
How you doing? You all right? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Recommending good food over rumpy pumpy. What a shame. What sickness, what sublimation of the fundamentally erotic human spirit to choose food over sex. Let's analyse the motivations of these three frauds, shall we? Paul McDermott. Food and not sex. Surely only natural from a man whose sexuality is so ambiguous that the only buns he can be trusted near enclose the fetid meat of a McDonald's burger. And Fiona O'Loughlin. Don't play to the stereotype. Don't lock the door and put on the dressing gown of snacks. You don't have to do it. Get the rampant rabbit down from the loft, Barry. Fill it full of diesel. Break me in two. That doesn't have to be you. And Arj Barker? Arj, what are you doing over there? A young man full of virile strength. We know why you've always got the munchies. Fucking A, man. Let's have a little look at what's going to happen if you don't cross the floor where you belong. On the team of youth and virility, let's have a forward projection of what Arj might look like in 5 years. And that's just the headshot. Here's the full shot. Arj Barker, ladies and gentlemen. And the PR shot. That's right. That's the only way Arj Barker will fill the Palais Theatre in St Kilda, ladies and gentlemen. To confute and crush your pathetic proposition. Food is better than sex. Think back to all the sex you've had. Fiona will give you a minute to audit that hard drive. On very few occasions is an erotic encounter not preceded by good food anyway, sometimes at the same time. Cover me in chocolate mousse. Actually, that will look a bit like poo. Don't do that. It'll look really bad. It looks like a good idea at the time, but it looks like you've got poo on your willy. I don't know about anyone in this room, but I don't trust people that replace real human interaction with anything, whether it's food or Mario Karts or whatever else you are recommending. They're like the people that say, oh, I don't want to have babies, I'm just going to have dogs. They're enough for me, I just want puppies. You know, people in their 30s, we're just going to keep dogs, we're okay with pets, actually. And then they're in the toilets lactating, going, I want to adopt a Cambodian. Right? Choose the human. Where is it going to end up? It does. If someone says, right, I choose food over sex, I no longer need sex, I'm just going to eat instead. For the majority of us, certainly men, it's going to end up one way only, clutching a tub of Ben & Jerry's and knocking one out over the internet, right? Difficult. Look at some of the dads in the room, already know what I'm talking about. Difficult to explain that one to your teenage son, isn't it? Daddy, what's wrong with my space bar? It's just not working anymore, right? I think someone sneezed on it, Jared. I can't explain it. A recent survey showed that British males can't even watch normal pornography anymore. We're not aroused by overly produced Californian pornography featuring beautiful people having beautiful sex. This porn, yeah, oh God, yeah, that's American porn. Arch, you might recognise it. Yeah. In this survey, that no longer arouses British people. We're so sick in the head. What British people are watching, men, 89.9% of porn consumers are men, how depressing. What they're watching is people with flabby bodies, real accent, emerging in groups from behind skips. That's what they're watching. That's the kind of pornography we're watching back home because we can no longer enjoy healthy interaction. American porn cannot be... Yeah, maybe just because it's too noisy for our tiny British houses. That's the problem. Yeah. Shut up, shut the fuck up, shut up. Yeah? I think it was a fox, babe. It was a fox. I don't know what that was. I know. Yeah. How can the difference between mute and one bar be so much, for God's sake? Yeah. Why is the porn so loud? Beep. Yeah. No longer arouses me. It's a pantomime of sexuality. Even the guys make noise in a more healthy sexual environment. The American men make noise in that. Yeah, oh God, yeah. Could you imagine an Australian or a British man making a noise during sex? Nothing. A whimper, a thank you is enough. A thank you is plenty. Don't take that literally. Thanks, thank you. Yeah? That's English sex. Thank you, you're welcome. Goodbye. That's English. Yeah? Now, if I was to actually make love to a girl that was going, yeah, I'd probably have to test her. Yeah, fuck. Yeah? She can't keep it up the whole way through, though, can she? Yeah. Till eventually the guy gets so fast, all she can do is go, yeah, me. Sexuality becomes a pantomime if we suppress it. It comes out down other alleyways, Paul. I mean, I'll just leave you on this point. This is Australia, okay? Healthy democracy, debate alive and well and down to earth. And, I don't see Tony Abbott trying to use food to become the next leader of freaking Australia. He's appearing in his Speedos and Y-fronts whenever he freaking can. Look at that. I think you find whoever's got the biggest dick is the next leader of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Next up, the amazing Arj Barker, Greg Barrett, plus more Paul McDermott and Cal Wilson debating that food is better than sex.
In the words of American critic Gail Green, great food is like great sex. The more you have, the more you want. And just like sex, it's almost impossible to get a souffle up twice in one evening. The final speaker for the affirmative is a man many would like to know him better, and many more would like to eat. Arj Barker.
Thank you very much. Food is better than sex.
Yes.
And if this debate were held a few years ago, I might be sitting over there, that's true. Because it took me well into adulthood to reach the wisdom of maturity, to know that as wonderful as sex is, there's so many things in life that are so wonderful to experience that don't specifically involve having sex with someone. Like you can suck on them titties real good, or like finger banging's insane. And food. Food is better than sex. Now, of course, there's a lot of parallels between food and sex, and some of them are obvious. Snack, quickie. Buffet, gangbang. Vegetarian, lesbian. What? What? Hey. No sausage. All right. And no one can deny this, though. Making good food is a work of art. But any two knuckleheads in the whole world can have sex. It's so simple. All you do is insert tab A in slot A. Remove, insert, remove, apologize. Yeah? But, like with food, sex does have its trends. You know, I had a friend come up not too long ago. He said, "Hey, Arj, did you ever try putting it in slot B?" I knew what he was talking about. He was talking about some real backdoor action. And I told him what I tell a room full of strangers tonight through a microphone. No, I've never done that. Because I still think regular sex, or what I call original style sex, is still pretty awesome. And I haven't gotten to that point where I had to look beyond it for something else. I've never found myself in the bedroom like, yeah, well, this vagina's pretty cool, I guess, but I don't know, it's just not cutting the mustard anymore. What else you got back there? Never happened. And, you know, like Greg, I live in California. People are always trying to find a new way to have sex back there. This other buddy of mine came up and said, "Oh, me and Margaret, we went to this spiritual guru, and he showed us how to have sex for 4 hours. And yet we don't even have a sexual climax." I was like, "You're telling me you have sex for 4 hours, but you never nut?" I'm like, "What's the big deal? I've used a condom before." He said, "No, it's called tantric meditational sex." I said, "I don't care what you call it. 4 hours of sex? I don't got that kind of money." Ridiculous. But, come on. Let's not forget why we're here. Food is not only better, it's 100 times more important than sex. Because think about it. There's organizations who their entire purpose is to feed people. That's hunger relief. Okay? There's no sexual relief organizations. All right? There's no benefit called, Root Fam Australia. For only $25, you can help an entire village get reach-arounds. Not gonna see that. Ridiculous that would be written on that. But food is better than sex, and one of the best proofs of that, my friends, is that you could go in the newspaper and read reviews of restaurants, because that's how much we rate it. We want to know what's good. There's no partner reviews. You can't go, "Oh, look, honey, they've got a review of that new young lady that moved in down the street." When I first entered Gertrude, it was a usual fare. A half-hearted and sometimes toothy head job dimmed my expectations. However, the main intercourse changed my mind about this flamboyant filly with her burnt orange hair. Being in her reminded me of a warm night in Marrakesh. Humid, noisy, and full of haggling. I would definitely return, although she could use a new futon. Ouch, my back. 2 stars. Food? Thank you. What if you had to choose food or sex? That's it. We win. Because you know why? Everyone, if they thought about it, would choose food because they know that you could keep eating good food and you'll rub one out here and there, and you could live your whole life like that. There's a lot of good aids to help you get a good rub out. I keep pointing out there's great porn. That's fine, right? You could be a chubby, happy masturbator, or you could be a famished sex fiend and you could have sex every day. But by the 3rd day, you know what happens when you don't eat? You saw the old cartoons. You're going to look at your partner and suddenly you're going to see a giant lamb chop sitting there. And you get it. look at these three. An American, an Englishman, and a Kiwi. And like the imperialist nations from which they hail, they would try to bully us, simple, open-minded Australians. But we will not cower to those oppressors. We will look at the facts and let the illumination of truth cast away the shadows of their heinous lies. And for that I now present Why Food is Better Than Sex, the 7 Reasons of Power. Number 7. A good meal doesn't sit on the edge of the table and cry when I'm finished with it. Number 6. A man can determine when a woman is finished eating. Number 5. There's no such thing as a food scandal, and Tiger would be in a lot less trouble if he was only linked to Maltesers. Number 4, if you don't feel like eating when the food is warm, it will still let you eat it after you finish watching Weekend at Bernie's 2. Number 3, both food and sex may lead to illness, but I'll choose diarrhea over gonorrhea any day. At least I'll get some reading done. Number 2, the ramifications of sex can be far more serious than those of food. Leftovers from a meal don't stay in the fridge for 18 years. And finally, the number 1 reason to put this thing to bed right now. Thank you, that's good. Food leaves your body the next day. I don't know about you, but after good sex, I've had things stuck in my butt for weeks. Thank you very much.
After the break, from the USA, comedian and best-selling author Greg Barrett, here on The Great Debate.
The author Sarah Payson famously stated, "The way to a man's heart is through his stomach, although his nuts are a better way to his wallet." The final speaker for the negative is a prime piece of A-grade American beef. Corn-fed, low-fat, melts in your mouth, Greg Barrett!
I got nothing. Unbelievable. I stand in your glory. But what if you're right? What if you're right? I mean, cake. Oh my God, think about cake. Good God, it's a fucking miracle. Do you ever ponder the miracle that is cake? Do you ever ponder it? It's a miracle. You've probably forgotten already, you jaded freaks. You've grown up, you got a cell phone, you're doing shit. You don't think about the glory of cake. And if you don't remember the glory of cake, go back to your first birthday. Go back. Get a picture. I guarantee you, you're covered in it. Not because you didn't know how to eat it, because you couldn't get it in you fast enough. Oh God, what hole does it go in? Jesus, I want to rub this on my chest. I want to live like this. Yes. Pudding. Or your custard. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one that you can eat and then spit out and eat it again. It's exactly the same. Whoa. I did it again. My God, you can have your pudding 9 times. And then there was the Cadbury egg. Oh, reflect upon its glory. We've only had it a few years in the States. I didn't know there was such a thing, and then I came across it, and it was unbelievable. So I'm talking to a friend of mine. This is at Christmas. And I say to him, Easter is upon us, and soon there will be Cadbury eggs. And he goes, you're a fucking mess. But then he goes on to say, I don't like them. I said, well, you don't need to talk. He says, I think they're too much. I go, stop talking. He goes, I think they're too big. He's on some fucking tear in my house, and he won't stop talking about how big they are and how they're too much and how they overshot and Cadbury should make them smaller and why don't they make a tiny egg with the cream inside? And that's what he says. He says, I wish they made them smaller. And I'm like, stop! Can I have a wish candy genie? Because I wish they made them so big you had to punch through the chocolate shell to pull the caramel out with your fist. Nay, I wish they were so big that they opened like the hatchback of a car and then you would get in the caramel, close the egg, eat your way out, or die! Yes! Oh, I don't just like sweet stuff. I like savory too. We have a cracker in the United States. It may be coming here soon. It's new. It's called the flip side. It's 2 crackers in one. But not 2 crackers shoved together, lasered down the middle. Now, I'm not a big cracker guy. When I was a kid, there were crackers I tried, but I didn't like them. Chicken and a biscuit. You have it? Chicken and a biscuit, you know, that's a bad cracker. Any cracker that you eat and makes you sweat, that's a bad cracker. But then my mother-in-law turned me on to this flip side cracker. I'd never had such a thing. I snapped it off in my mouth. Oh, I didn't have words. I didn't know where I was. I was confused. And I went into this fantasy that I worked at an advertising agency. And it was my job to come up with a slogan for the flip side cracker. And I'm late for work, but I get there. I got regular sized pants on. And they're like, Greg, what is your slogan? And I'm like, all right, you ready for it? The flip side cracker, it fucks your mouth with flavor. Not everybody there agrees with that idea. That's not something you put on a box. Some people are going, oh, I don't like that. Other people are like, but it does kind of fuck your mouth with... Everyone is sort of... And then there's a guy, Brian. You know Brian, he works in your office, super codependent, has to smooth it out for everybody. I don't think that's what Greg means. That's not what he means. He doesn't mean that what Greg's saying is that the flip side cracker makes love to your mouth with flavor. And I'm like, no, Brian. No, that's not what I mean, because that's not what happens. It doesn't light a candle. It shoves you against the refrigerator, pulls your pants down, and fucks your mouth with flavor. And as they're walking me out of the advertising agency with my box full of stuff, I'm trying to save my job. The Cadbury cream egg, it's a chocolate blowjob. Get out! So are they right? Are they right? Is that the guy you want to be with, ladies? Some crazy fucked up guy with cake on his chest? Spits his pudding in and out and takes a chocolate bath? Can't hold a job? Huh? Because that's what happens when it's just food. You go crazy because that's the only joy you get. And if you think about it, everything that's awesome in life is just an attempt to replicate sex. We're just trying to create that feeling in other ways. The Cadbury cream egg is sex. For your mouth. The Rolling Stones are sex for your ears. Arj is a good comic. A really good comic. I wanted to comment on what these guys were saying, but I couldn't listen to them. And you want to know why? Because this girl's shirt is open. Yeah. I'm married. I don't want to have sex with her, but her shirt is open and I couldn't stop. And you know what I wasn't thinking? God, I hope she has a biscuit. Wasn't thinking that. And I'm sorry, and I apologize to your boyfriend. If that's your boyfriend, I apologize. Good for you. Fuck. But let's put Arj's theory to the test. I don't want to decide. We shouldn't decide. You know what this is? This is a panel of clowns. Let's get a real person up here. Let's get a real person. You know what I need right now? I need an 18 to 25-year-old single male up here. 18 to 25, single, straight. Just because I haven't checked with Paul. So straight. Single? Come on up, brother. Come on up here. Come on up the stairs, man. How are you?
Not bad.
Nice to see you. What's your name?
Brett.
Brett, where are you from, Brett?
Melbourne.
Melbourne, all right. So here's the scenario, Brett. Go with me. Brett has only an hour left to live. Do you want to know why? Because he's going to save the planet. He's going to fly a rocket straight into the sun. Don't ask about the scenario. I don't understand it myself. It just is what is happening. Brett leaves in 15 minutes. If he returns, he will be, they're going to call the planet Brett. Let's just put it that way. It will no longer be called Earth. It'll be called Brett. It will be called Brett. We have allowed Brett to choose to have one human pleasure before we send him at light speed into the face of the sun. Kate, will you come out here, please? They told us when we did this show, you can have anything you want. I'm like, I'm the only one that asked for a bikini model? Are you kidding me? All right, Brett. Now here's your choice. You can have this delicious chocolate cake, and this is as good as I promised earlier. Remember when I was running around? I would rub that on my chest in a heartbeat. And when this is over, or you can have a kiss from Kate. Now, I just want to remind you that you're a dude. You claim to be straight, and I bet your friends have televisions, but I'm not trying to sway your opinion. Come a little closer, will you? Come stand over here. So what's it gonna be, Brett?
I think it'll have to be a kiss.
It will have to be a kiss. Brett, Kate, everybody. Thank you, buddy. Head on back to your seat. Kate, this way. I rest my case.
Greg Barrett!
Coming up, Paul McDermott has one last chance to convince you that food is better than sex.
The teams now have one more chance to rebut, reheat and reroute their tasty arguments. Please welcome back Paul McDermott!
Man. Look, the issue in this debate wasn't directly addressed. We were saying that food is better than sex. They were saying that sex is great. You have no argument with us. Sex is fucking great, ladies and gentlemen. It can be wonderful, but food is better. They never really addressed that. At one stage, Cal said, who doesn't want to be dipped in honey and thrown to the lesbians? And she followed that with the racist joke about the Lebanese. Her biggest joke was Amazon.com. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yes. In regards to Fiona and her bounty, not many people out there tonight would know the true story of Fiona. That her husband creeps into their bedroom while she's asleep and seeds her at night. Cal wore a fruit hat. I was a little bit turned on. She also said, talked about Adam, the Garden of Eden. Wow, hey, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot of fun. Guy and a girl in the garden for eternity. Yeah, thank Christ he ate the apple. And then a couple of fellas came and danced, and I got a lot of cock in my face. Not the first time, will not be the last, I suspect. I want to discuss Russell Brand. Absolutely fantastic, very impressive. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Russell Peters. No, Russell Kane. Thank you, sorry. The strangely beautiful androgynous lady man-boy child. I thought he was great. I loved him, and I loved you on Big Bang as well.
What is that? I don't get it.
Such liberal attitudes, humping everything around here, but got a bit squeamish about a bit of poo on his cock. He mentioned that the Brits are sexually vapid. They're repressed. Wow. I think Russell should just have some sex. I think maybe in Goulburn jail with a man whale called Bubba and pounding his head into the mattress. And I think after that, Russell will be able to look at himself in the mirror and see Sealy Posturepedic written in backwards on his... Sometimes you've just got to go all the way. Greg Behrendt, ladies and gentlemen, once again, no argument. He seemed to fucking love food. He loved food more than anyone else. I didn't think we even heard about sex in that argument. A lot of you people probably wondering why Greg has a chain there. I certainly was, but I discovered earlier it's to hold his butt plug in.
Oh, you got me.
Otherwise, all his good jokes fall out his arse, ladies and gentlemen. Sad. I did prefer him in Stray Cat Strut as well. He talked about cake, custard, Cadbury eggs, crackers. I didn't understand it, quite frankly. It's Australia. You know, fireworks night has been banned here for years. He then went into a fantasy where he was working in an office, I think an ad agency, and I thought, by God, I wish he'd had a fantasy about being a comedian. The pain.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end, ladies and gentlemen, of Greg's speech, he did get an 18 to 25-year-old boy out of the audience. It's 2% of the population. That's all it is, that fella. And I tell you what, the haircut is fucking popular at the moment, isn't it? I mean, 18 to... Sorry?
He just got it cut.
Who the fuck are you? Anyone else feel like just piping in with anything at any point? Don't worry about it. Just give it a crack, all right? (18 to 25). These are the fellas that go off to war. How fucking smart can they be, ladies and gentlemen? Thus far, everything has been, to my mind, fairly theoretical. Yeah? And I think Greg was trying to illustrate this point. We need to do something practical. So what I'm suggesting now is we have a bit of food, we lock the doors, and we just fuck. And we see which is better. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you someone who is going to make a feast for you now, Mr. Matt Preston. And please welcome, with Matt tonight, Mr. George Colobatis.
Yeah, welcome, Georgie.
Welcome, Matt.
Yeah. Everyone knows that wine and food and sex go together. You're supposed to spit the wine out. You spit it. You spit the wine out, George. Yeah, spit it out into the nearest empty barrel. Thank you. You've got to introduce him now.
And now, the host of MasterChef, Mr. Gary Meehan.
You change your mind like a girl, change clothes. Yeah, you PMS like a bitch, I should know. And you overthink, always speak cryptically. You should know that you're the losing team. 'Cause you're hot when you're cold, you're yes then you're no, you're in then you're out, you're up then you're down, you're round when it's right, it's black and it's white. We fight and we break up, we kiss, we make up. You don't really wanna stay, no, but you don't really wanna go. Oh, 'cause you're hot then you're cold, you're yes then you're no, you're in then you're out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look.
Next, after Cal Wilson's last stand, the winner of the great debate. Yes, we'll soon know if food is better than sex.
And once again, please welcome back Cal Wilson.
From these other three over here. We heard from Paul. He showed us a little window into his sad, sordid, tiny psyche. We saw where sex always ends up as misery, just like everything else in his life. He has nothing to deny that with. Fiona, she got someone else to do her speech. Presumably one of her children. And then Arj, pretty Arj, with his permanent look of happy bewilderment. I have to confess, I wasn't actually listening to what Arj was saying. I was just going, pretty, and how big are those pockets? I did come to briefly, though, to hear the phrase, chubby, happy masturbator, which I can only hope is going to be the title of his next DVD. And then you heard from us, the negative team. And as we spoke, in your minds you were thinking, hot, shame about the accent. And you knew that you sided with us, the normal ones, the happy ones, the ones who are open and honest, the people who are out and proud about preferring sex rather than food. And what of the affirmative team? These three caricatures. We have the disturbingly well-preserved creature of the night. We have the woman who's populated Alice Springs by herself. And the pretty one. Or as I call them, mummy, yummy. Ladies and gentlemen, don't vote with your stomachs. Vote with your hearts and your trouser parts. Sex is better than food. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now up to you. Which team has found their way to your heart? With all the noise you can muster, is it the affirmative? Geez, I don't think I've ever found one this tight before. That's not a euphemism.
Karim?
I don't know whether magic's going to help you there.
That's why I got big pockets.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Food is better than sex? Dinner, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby award the 21st Great Debate to the negative. One last thought before we go. Life is uncertain. Eat dessert first. Good night.